Sun City in the Northwest Province, where the world's best golfers gather annually, where world heavyweight champions have strutted their stuff, and where old Blue Eyes once crooned. But this time, the top 74 South African off-roaders were there to make their cars sing for glory, and the 2007 Sun City 400 title, the third race in the ABSA Off-Road Championship. The battles were all delicately poised, if you can use that phrase in off-road racing, as things can change in a nanosecond. The route at Sun City is always demanding, and this year there would be the added hindrance of a lot of dust. The area had been without any significant rainfall, thus the cars would churn up tons of dirt in pursuit of getting to the line first, after 400 grueling Ks of very hard out racing. In the production car class, there was a 23-point breathing space between champion Hannes Grobler and his navigator Francois Jordan and his Nissan Navara teammate Duncan Voss and Brandon Harkes in a Ford Racing Ranger.
Yeah, the Sun City is always a tough event. It doesn't look like it, but it's quite rough. And I think the guys think it's fast, and then for some or another reason, we always have a problem on this race. But I'm sure the car is well prepared, and it's now a car that's run for more than a year, and I'm very confident that we'll be there in the front.
Confident indeed, but Grobler certainly had a score to settle with this event. Not so, though, for defending production car champions Ford's Neil Woolridge and his co-driver Kenny Schothammer.
Yeah, I think the rest of the team settling in very well. Brandon's lying second in the championship, and he's doing more than we ever thought he would do, so he's doing a great job. Manfred's doing well in the other SB car, is settling into that nicely. And of course, Jack and Lucio are lying second in the Class E championship with two good finishes, behind them, which is, for the team, is very good. So the championship's looking good for all those cars. For myself personally, it's been disastrous. I always tell the story. I had a customer phone me the other day, and we were just talking generally. He says, "Are you still racing this year?" I said, "Yes." You'd never think so if you looked at the results. But yeah, from my own personal side, we've had 2 DNFs, no points this year. So we're looking to hopefully change at this event. But the team's really working well. The cars are good. We're making constant changes as we go along all the time, improving little things, changing odds and ends, and cars are really working nicely. It's going to be a tough race. Sun City's always a hard race, so but we're really looking forward to it.
In the Castrol Toyota Cup, there was mounting confidence as the red, white and green brand was starting to look ominous. They enjoy this city in the sun.
Yeah, look, the Sun City event's always a good event. I'm really looking forward to it with a new vehicle. The guys have put in a lot of effort. The last event was a little bit of a struggle for us. But I think we're coming out with a very strong package. I think we've really got something to look forward to. So, yeah, time will tell.
In the super production or SP class, the competition was tough, and some teams were still carrying the scars from the previous race in KwaZulu-Natal.
Shishluwi was quite tough. It was a very nice race. I think it was so far one of the best races I've ever taken part in. We were a little bit unfortunate there. We got a third place, which is quite good. It was at least a finish. And luckily for us, we're lying first in the Class D championships at the moment. But Sun City is a different animal. I think you must treat it different to Shishluwi. The terrain looks easy. It's not easy. It's very tough and very hard on the vehicles and even on the drivers. And I think it might be a tough weekend.
And it was, but this game is all about performance out on the country roads of Southern Africa.
Shishluwi is a good race. We ran 2-wheel drive. We didn't even have 4-wheel drive, and we finished second. It was a very good result for us. This race, I've done it twice before, and I know it's very rough, and it's much longer than normal. So the object here is to just get the car to the end. We'll probably race the last 100 Ks if we have to, but we just want to get to the end.
That's the premise most teams set out from. In the specials, there's a little less of it, though. Here, the father and son team of Nick and Ryan Harper and the Blue Atlas Copco were pace-setting for Shamir Varayawa and Siegfried Rousseau in their Total Porter.
We always hope that we can win again. 2 in a row, it's not very easy. So many cars out there that can actually win. There's probably 10 guys that could win this race. But we're going to try our best and also not push it too hard because we're leading the championship. We don't want to throw points away. Consistency also counts, but I'd like to finish in the top 3. A win will be great,
All eyes, though, were on the brand new silver and black Motorite Bat Spec 3, which were debuted and rolled out for the first time in the Pilanesberg.
Yeah, we made this decision at the end of last year to campaign 2 new cars for the new season. There's a lot of guys that brought other new cars and competitive cars out there, so we needed to stay on top of our game, and that it forced us to make 2 new vehicles for the season. The reason it's taken us a while to get them out here is that you didn't want to bring them out without doing some proper testing and knowing that the setup was right and so on and so forth. So taken us a bit longer than expected, but hopefully in theory they're much quicker, they're much faster, they're lighter, they've got more power and they handle better, but that will be, we'll find out what the decision is at the end of tomorrow, whether they were better or not, or whether we didn't drive them fast enough.
But it wouldn't be for a lack of trying. For the Total Motorsport Porter team, there was still ink drying on a brand new contract for Naim Musaji and Rayhan Bodiana.
We got an offer from Shamir Viriawa to join his team, Total Motorsport. We're very excited about it. It means a lot to us to start off. It's a part sponsor at the moment with our original sponsor of Cooper Tires. But we believe Total is a big name out there, and there are 5 decades in motorsport. So I believe they're a strong team, and it's a good name to be with.
Another new name that had also joined the off-road circus was Regent Insurance Partners and Cargo Motors. They were running 3 entries, most notably Jan and Hendrik Krij, the revelation of Class B last year, and already 2-time winners this season, with the 05 national champion Terence Marsh also in the stable. On the prologue, a time trial designed to establish the starting order for the next day's racing over a daunting 55 kilometers, the ever-improving Brandon Harkis and his co-driver Jean Moore in the Ford Ranger were a little disappointing, hitting a piece of earth quite solidly.
Good shot. Okay, that's good.
Right.
On the other side of that coin, Nissan's former champions Duncan Foss and Rolf Pitchford were flying along, clocking the fastest intermediate times. And they streaked by stricken Harkis. Foss's teammate, the 4-time national champion Grobler, and his co-Jordan were as always on a search and destroy mission and were chasing their counterpart as hard as they could. They were just a few ticks of the clock off the pace. For the Class D champions, Manfred Schroeder and Ward Huxtable, there were some very promising signs since they've stepped up to the SP class. And for the Castrol Toyota Hilux with Mark Cronje and Chris Birkin aboard, there was the same, as they were within a minute of the pace. SP champion Woolridge was desperate to open up his points account, and it was even bad for business for the Maritzburg man. For Mark Corbett and Rudy Balzar and their Century Properties Nissan, there was a solid, if unspectacular, 6th place in class looming. They clocked 47 minutes and 29 seconds for the 55 Ks of quick punishment. The Norwegian driver Ivar Tollefsen and his sidekick Englishman Quinn Evans were fast becoming used to the all-South African conditions, and there was a 7th place in the SP class for them after a good drive. In the Castrol Toyota, Bevan Bertolt and Robin Houghton, there was trouble as they first lost their power steering and then started overheating. They were almost 5 minutes off the pace. What was also clear was that the route was very well marked. Just notice all the orange stickers pointing the way. Describing the route as a car breaker, Chris Visser and Jaapie Badenhorst went easy on the prologue, trying to save their Castrol Toyota. But in Class D, Cliff and Louis Weichelt were going as fast as they could. They won the prologue, but only just by a scant 6 seconds. The Raconics men Kutsiala Beskachny and Johan Gerber in the Nissan went very well, but just after this, unfortunately Gerber was called back home because his home had burnt down. That left Kutsia doing the solo business. The unusual-looking Chevrolet with Herman de Villiers and Willie Prinsloo, the organizer of the Ford Motorrad Limpopo and Ford Carnival City 400, won Class S with oodles of time to spare, despite this little wrong slot. Coming off a fine win in KwaZulu-Natal, the husband and wife duo of George and Sharon Balkhuizen were well down the order and deeply disappointed. In Class E, Thomas Rundle and Brian Roberts and their Baden Tyres Nissan were solid, just 23 seconds off the pace. But after the 55 Ks of prologue, it was Duncan Foss and Rolf Pitchford who were triumphant by 7 seconds over their stablemates Krobler and Jordan. Schroeder and Huxtable impressed by taking third, a minute down. In the special vehicle category, there was some really tight racing. Shamir Variawa and Siegfried Rousseau in the Total Motorsport Porter set a cracking pace, and the rest were holding on to their coattails. And the Harpers were along for the ride. The Atlas Copco sounded in good working order. Their teammate Gary Bertolt and Henry Costain in the second Atlas Copco were right there too, just 2 seconds further back. And the ever-consistent Karl-Heinz Silvold and Quinton Silvold amazed by clinching 4th place in their Zarko, just 37 seconds further back. Mosaji and Bodhanya did their new sponsors proud by taking 5th, 90 seconds further. While reigning SA champ Motorride's Alfie Cox and Henny Terstegen were only 11th, feeling out the 3rd generation back gingerly. The Cries took 20th overall and 1st in Class B, while the end of the prologue came for Thompson and Blakey, missing a left back wheel in action. Johan and Etienne Besaidnout in their Denko back took 2nd in Class B, 48 seconds off the Cries. With the Century Properties development bat of Ernest Corbett and Roy Goosen also in close and quick attendance. Richard Schilling and Chris Davies in the Plastotech Aceco have been very consistent for a long time, and they again proved it by winning Class S convincingly. From Glenn Gibson and Mark Whitehurst in their Absolute Aceco, who stopped the clock at 51 minutes and 1 second. While Bez Besaidnout and Johan de Bruin in the second Edenko bat were 3rd in Class B. But the spoils went to Variawa and Rousseau, who lent the first 5 cars home all within 70 seconds. And remarkably, the Class A cars all took the places in the top 10. But once the prologue had been dealt with, then the mechanics, technicians and rebuilders earn their keep again. The 55K time trial is always tough on the cars, and then it's assess the damage, make a plan or two, and then start repairing. And there's always a lot of graft going on in the pit area. Henry Zermatten in the Ryobi Nissan had burnt out the gearbox the night before, then a myriad of problems beset them, putting an end to their challenge. But as the sun set at Sun City, they knew the next day would be a hard one. We continue after these.
Vehicle and asset finance from Absa.